We now have in-person quorum and we'll proceed with our meeting. May I have a roll call, please, clerk?
Trustee Bardis is late. He's intending to join at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
Trustee Bosey
Here.
is with us remotely. Trustee Bosey, you're a co-host of this meeting. Trustee Hall.
Yeah.
Deputy Mayor Woods.
Here.
Mayor Foley.
Here. Thank you. We have several items that are going to be discussed under executive session tonight. So I am going to make a motion in a moment to enter executive session, but for the benefit of the audience, we will be reopening after we complete this discussion and continuing with the monthly meeting. So it will probably be about an hour with the different items we have to discuss. So if you want to catch up with us again in an hour for the monthly meeting, we'll be here. So for now, I'll make a motion to enter executive session for the purpose of interviewing candidates for appointment to the Cold Spring Police Department, discussion of proposed litigation, and discussion of employment history of particular persons. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we're going to bump Mr. Miller out and stop recording. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being patient, both in person and online, while we took care of some other business. The time is now 7:53, and we're calling the public portion of our meeting in order at, 7:58. At 7:53, I made a motion to exit executive session. Trustee Bardis seconded. We voted unanimously out of executive session. We have done our call to order and roll call when we opened the meeting at 6. We're now re-entering our open session and do announcements. Okay. Just want to say thanks to everybody for patience while Fishkill Mountain has been under construction. They've made progress very quickly. All stormwater drain structures and the pipe are installed. The new sidewalks are in at the intersection. The next 2 days are weather dependent. If the weather cooperates, they'll be grading tomorrow and paving on Friday. And then next week, marking the pavement, doing the site restoration and cleanup. They'll be out of here. So thank you to everyone for tolerating the dust and the dirt and the inconvenience. I also want to say thank you to Mary Makalakis, who has restored her mural in the tunnel. It was damaged in the 2023 flood, and then the follow-up repairs that had to be made to the tunnel. So she has done it. It looks great. Community Day is June 20th. We still need volunteers for all sorts of things. So please get in touch with Marjorie, the village clerk, at bcsclerk@coldspring.ny if you're available to volunteer. Okay. Any other announcements?
Department, Highway Department, the quick response on that water main break that we had last week.
Yes, thank you very much to them. We were able to get it under control very quickly and get water restored quickly as well. So opportunity to add or modify the agenda. I would like to modify the agenda to bring from the bottom to the top the items related to the police department, the board business related to police department, so that the officer in charge doesn't have to sit for the rest of the meeting waiting for those items. That's my motion. Second. All in favor? Aye. All right, Nat, talk us through what you got.
Okay, so I have 3 requests here that I sent to the board. One of them is an error, but I'll go through them one by one. I'll explain what's going on here. The first one was a memo to request to have Managed Technologies take over the CCTV access control system and support. A couple of years ago, we installed new locks on all the doors. We installed new cameras in the building. The support from the vendor has been less than desirable. I've had a lot of issues with them and a lot of back and forth trying to get them to remedy the problems that I've had with the system. In a timely fashion for a police department that operates 24 hours, 7 days a week. It's just been taking way too long for me. Our IT department, which is run by Managed Technologies, they are familiar with the system. I had spoken to them on multiple occasions to see if they would be willing to take over, the, uh, the support for that system, and they have offered, and they sent me a quote for that, or a service agreement. They handle everything for us now. They're super responsive, and they handle all these problems, pretty much 24 hours, 7 days a week. And for a police department who operates around those same hours, it's definitely something that we need. So my recommendation is to, I am not quite, Marjorie, you would know, do we currently have a contract with someone, or the contract is expired? And we're looking for somebody, I am looking for somebody to take that over rather than the current company.
Day-to-day, connections.
Yeah.
But also, Managed Tech owns the equipment that's there. They replaced it as a favor.
They own some of it.
Right.
They own some of it,
Right.
so they would be willing to take over what we had installed by another vendor,
Right.
in order to keep that system functioning the way we need it to function.
And Managed Tech currently does all of the Village Hall, the police department, the fire department,
Everything.
and it's useful to have someone who knows the whole system, the whole function.
And they're there, I'll
So
call
that
them at
was
2 in the
the-
morning, and they respond right away, and the problem is solved.
What's the, what do the numbers look like? Like $5,580 a year, right?
In here somewhere. It's in the-
59 months.
They put the money in, small print.
I got it.
Yeah, it's about 5,500 a year.
But then, is this a replacement service or a new service?
This is a replacement service. The company that installed the systems was also running this access, support. But it's been atrocious.
It truly has been. It truly has been terrible. They were excellent to work with for the installation, for the transition to the technology, but
But we haven't been paying for a service.
it's expired.
But,
It's time for us to renew with them, and we're saying, Matt's saying, and I'm saying,
I don't want to use
we
it.
don't want to renew.
okay, so we're not,
Waiting days is too long.
Yeah.
Waiting weeks is way too long.
we're getting a new service, we're not renewing the old service.
We're having our current IT department take over their service.
Right.
So that's what we're doing.
So it's just, it's a replacement cost, it's a cost that's already,
It's not a new cost.
it's not a
It's
new
not a
cost,
new cost, right?
Thank you.
Discussion, other discussion on that one? So would someone like to make a motion on this item?
I'll make a motion to accept the recommendation of the OIC, Culture Police Department to enter into CCTC service agreement with Managed Technologies of New York Inc., based in Carmel, New York, for an annual fee of $5,508 per year, invoice monthly at the rate of $459 per month.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Laura, I think Laura said aye, right? All right, Matt, talk us through the next item.
Okay, so the next one, I made an error. I put down, it was a request to update vehicle equipment. The equipment was already updated.
The modems.
The modems were already updated. It cost us about, I think, between $900 and $1,000 for each modem to be replaced in the vehicles. This is to, add a subscription service for the year, to extend the warranty on the current modems. So it'd be a service of 1 year for all 4 devices in all 4 cars. Modems are obviously what we use to connect our mobile data terminals in the vehicles to our CAD programs, license plate identification systems, driver's license records, anything that we use in the vehicles on a daily basis. Mainly it's our contact between the PD and 911 in the cars. And these modems, it's a piece of equipment, and they, don't always last as long as we would like them to. And like I said, the replacement cost, for each modem is more than the subscription service for the, warranty.
So you're not, I understand you not to be asking to replace.
I am
modems,
not
but
replacing the modems,
extend the
but to
warranty.
extend the warranty on the modems. So to extend the warranty for the year is $984, and like I said, the modems cost about that each.
And that is a budgeted expense.
Yes.
Discussion?
Also support firmware updates and the warranty, right? It's not just the warranty.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's for everything that involves those modems.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve OSC's request to accept Managed Technologies quote of 2105 for Cradle Point Ericsson Net Cloud subscription renewal for support, firmware updates, and extended warranty in the amount of $984.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Laura?
Make an announcement.
Oh, yes, thank you. Just for the public record, trustee Bartis was not with us at the beginning of the executive session. He arrived later in the session. I don't know what time it came in.
6:45.
Thank you. Okay, last. Now, Matt, the next item, this is a laptop for our training officer.
Yes,
This is not a budgeted expense. This was to have been an end of year expense.
it was supposed to be, yes.
So talk us through it and how are we gonna.
Yeah, so recently we are in the process of completing our in-service training. We had an issue with our training laptop. Training laptop we use for not only setting up the in-service training, but we also bring it on site for training programs such as first aid, firearms, and aerosol restraint trainings. We found out towards the end of like middle end of May, that computer is no longer able to be updated. Managed Technologies did try to update the operating system and the computer, but it's just too old. And it's no longer compatible with current programs and technologies. So that computer is going to need to be replaced. And the cost of that is $1,767.
And
94 cents.
94 cents says. clerk.
94 cents.
This is not, you were hoping to make this purchase before the end of the year.
Yes.
How will you manage it in this year's budget since it is a non-budgeted expense? What will you balance it with?
What will I balance it with? Well, that I'm not sure. I know that I had requested a specific amount for vehicle repairs, which was significantly reduced because we were supposed to be, we were under the impression we would be getting an electric vehicle to supplement our fleet. And that, would have been some money where I could have moved that around to get this purchase. But either way, we're gonna be over on vehicle repairs, so I'm not sure where we can find this money.
Well, I know that you need this, so
Yes.
I am not advocating saying no. I'm just saying for all of us to be mindful that as the
Yeah.
budget year plays out, we're
Tight.
tight and we may have to make different decisions later in the budget year. I know we need this laptop.
Yeah, we definitely need it.
Any other discussion? None? Laura, any from you?
Look forward to getting you the EV. Oh, I see Jackson. We need to get some help on some other pieces for that contract, but we know that you need it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Mind, would someone like to make a motion regarding the laptop?
Sure.
Make a motion to approve OIC's request to accept Managed Technologies quote 2115 for the purchase of a Lenovo ThinkBook with a 3-year warranty upgrade for a total cost of $1,767.94.
Second.
Are in favor?
Aye.
Or said aye. Okay, thank you, Matt, for being here. Have a good time. Safe drive home.
I'll be here.
Is
Thanks,
there
Matt.
anything you want to highlight from your monthly report while you're sitting here? No, you're good. Seems like a pretty standard report. Okay, and being mindful that A, it's a long night, and B, the Knicks game is on, we're gonna push through here. I'm just gonna pull out some highlights from the monthly reports. A note from the accountant, village tax collection has begun, and Michelle asked us to remind people that you can pay in person at Village Hall or via regular mail or through the village drop box by the front door. It's the old mail slot. Payments are due in full on June 30th. Laura, do you have the image that I shared with you earlier? I want to just give you an update and
Yeah, if
illustrate.
you start talking, I'll work on getting it up.
So, roadways and facilities, I want to pull out that we're dealing with a couple of locations around the village. Corrugated metal was used very commonly, in the late 80s and early 90s. We have a lot of it around the village. It is reaching the end of its life. We're going to be playing whack-a-mole for a while. This is the corrugated metal that was pulled out at Fishkill Mountain. It is upside down here. It's been pulled up and thrown upside down. You'll see how the bottom is completely gone out of that. That was also the case at the southern end of Fishkill Avenue. It is the case on Kemble in front of the Montessori School, and it is the case on Parsonage. We've had two of these show signs of failure recently. So I just want folks to know that this is going to be our normal for a while, and while we work through replacing the technology of the early 90s. On Kemble Avenue, we have a tight window and Bugsy can do that in-house while the school is closed between its regular school session and its summer session. So that'll be next week that he's doing that one. Parsonage Street is a bit more. The drainage there is very close to the surface. It needs to be excavated and set at a protective depth. It needs to be at least a foot under the ground, so there needs to be more excavation. And it is a long length that really should have another catch basin. So we had, and the third problem is that, I don't know when this happened, but at some point, all of the downspouts from the houses in that block of Parsonage Street were connected to the village's main. Obviously, we don't do that anymore. I don't know if we were ever, if that's something the village ever should have done, but it's the reality, that the downspouts from the houses connect into that drain. So that needs to be undone, and to surface drains on each of those houses. And we have had Will and Paul look at it to determine placement of catch basins, and they do recommend an interim catch basin on that block. So that is bigger than Bugsy can do in-house. That is something that will need to be bid. So they'll be coming back to us with specs to go to bid on that one. So there are folks, I'm sorry to say that there are going to be street plates and there are going to be cones for a little while longer. That's how infrastructure works, and that's how we keep the roadway safe for passage till the repairs are done. Okay, yeah.
With the homeowners that are attached to the water now, what's gonna happen with that water after we put the pipe in?
They're gonna have to do.
Street will stay on.
Yeah, so what Will was I'm sorry, not Will, Paul was describing the other day was that he would recommend a sort of like a scupper off the curb. The first option is how much of the curb can we make a proper curb there? It's a very low curb because of years of paving over top. So evaluating where we can raise curb level, and if we can raise curb level sufficiently, and again, this is concept right now. His proposal was to have those existing downspouts the French drains that go under the ground come out through the curve. Like, think about where you see up by the
There's
Nelsonville.
just daylight right onto the curb.
They'll daylight onto the curb, there'll be a scupper and follow over. If we can't get that, and if we can't get enough curb to do that, it's gonna have to be surface drainage. But you would still provide I'm not sure that scupper is the right word, but a depression along the curb line so that the water can drain surface to the next catch basin.
Okay.
So we'll have more on that once they get to details. Okay, water and wastewater, just a couple of good news updates. We are closing on our bond for land acquisition on Thursday. We are scheduled to close, sorry,
The ban,
the ban, what did I say, bond, ban.
today, it's
Today.
on, closed today.
It closed today, in the busyness of the day. It's been is it Wednesday or is it Thursday kind of week? We are scheduled to close for 260 Lake Surprise Road on Monday, the 22nd, which is good. The DEC was on site this week for their annual inspections of the upper and lower. And then we have a few more items under board business related to water and wastewater. Fire company, just want to recognize that we are lucky to have college-age firefighters who return for the summer and do service while they are home. So welcome back. And thank you, Brennan, for being here for the summer. Tree Advisory Board is still looking for members. We do have some appointments on our agenda for later tonight, but we need 2 more. So suddenly inspired to be on the tree board, please let Marjorie know. Planning Board. I just wanted to point out that the Planning Board thankfully has a public hearing coming up for the building that was the Italian American shop where Joseph's Jewelers is and Winono, and there's a small shop on the end. There is an application for a change of use to bring a barbershop back to Main Street. So I think that's exciting. Now, if we can get a hardware store back, we'd be all set. Okay. Any other comments from the board on standing board or department reports?
No.
Good, Laura? Okay, moving on to board business. Marjorie, you want to talk us through EFPR group? These are our accountants that do our audit every year. We have a proposal to enter a 3-year engagement with them, the EFPR group of Williamsville, New York. Anything that you would like to add? They have served as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically, we have an external audit of the village finances every year. They're done a year behind, obviously, and this past year we used the services of EFPR and we're renewed. So we're paying for the services that finalizing the project, the services that they have provided, and we are entering into a new agreement for the future. There is an
That was a breakdown, right? Is that what you're looking for?
yeah, look it down.
Do you want each year total?
Yeah,
I
let's
think I didn't drag the second.
off the brown and brown.
Oh,
Yeah, we got printed.
I knew there was a misplaced thing. Okay.
Brown and brown.
Frantically dragging in the second time tonight. So their proposal for the coming for 2026 is a 3-year proposal for 2026 at $20,000, 2027 at $20,800, and 2028 $21,600, and these are comparable to other auditing firms that we looked at, and there is an option to renew for another 2 years, 2029 for $22,400 and 2030 for $23,200. So tonight we would ask that you consider their proposal for the first 3 years. You don't have to decide about the optional years at this point.
So we have two motions in front of us. Any discussion? I mean, we have two items in front of us to make motions on. Any discussion or questions from the board?
I just want to point out something, which is the 26 to 27 increase is a 4% increase, but thereafter it's less than 4%. So you're actually, if 4% is the benchmark, you're actually paying a little less year on
Going
year
forward.
going forward.
And it's less than not committing to an extra year, in which case it would be, I think, 5,000 per year more.
In that 1B, Marjorie, it's a, voting
That's B.
for the proposal. Will there then be an agreement to follow that?
The agreement is first.
Yeah, but then there's the proposal, right?
This is what they call their fee proposal.
Right. But then is there an agreement related
This is
to that?
the agreement.
The first one is the.
Okay.
The first part is the
agreement,
enter into the
and the second
agreement,
is
and then the
is
second one is
The amount.
what part of the agreement you want to,
Just the first, so the first one is extendable to 27 and onwards then?
the audits are done a year behind.
Yeah.
So the next coming year that they just finished the 2025 audit. And the next one they'll do would be the 2026 audit at the end of this fiscal year.
Oh, enter into a 3-year engagement agreement with a 2-year option to renew. Okay, I see that now.
Got it?
About that. Yeah, thank you. Your
Someone
patience.
like to make a motion? First motion.
Authorizing the mayor and the treasurer to enter into a 3-year engagement agreement with EFPR Group of Williamsville, New York, to provide external audit and related services to the village of Cold Spring for fiscal year ending May 31, 2026, with the option of a 2-year extension.
Favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The second one's basically just authorizing to execute the contract.
Unless you want to do it, Tony, I'll go. I make a motion to authorize the mayor and treasurer to accept EFPR's fee proposal to provide audit and related services to the village of Cold Spring for the 3 years ending May 31, 2026 at a cost of $20,000, May 31st, 2027 at a cost of $20,800, and May 2028 at a cost of $1,600, with the option of extending an additional 2 years.
Favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next are recommendations from water and wastewater. We have, Gentech generators at multiple locations in the village. We have a service contract with Gentech. They come every 6 months. And check them and recommend service. They have recommended service for the West Street wastewater treatment generator. And at the water treatment facility itself. Oops, I've gone in the wrong order here.
So these are with Superintendent Krug's report,
Yes.
the wastewater.
Yep. I took Gentech first because it was in my pile next. So we're talking about B right now. We're talking about 2B. So any questions about the generators and the regular service for the generator?
Do you know, it says a labor tech charge, if that's on site or is it remote?
No, they were here.
Over there, okay.
Any other questions? I'll let you make a motion.
Make a motion to accept the recommendation of Water and Wastewater Department Superintendent Matthew Krug to accept vote by Gen Tech Ltd. to replace coolant sensor.
Oops. Right now we've flipped the order on you, Tony. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Okay. So treatment generator.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Make a motion to accept the recommendation of Water and Wastewater Department Superintendent Matthew Krug to accept quote by Gen Tech Ltd. to replace the West Street wastewater treatment generator's battery charger at a total cost of $1,350.40.
Second.
Or gotta go online. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now we'll go back to the coolant sensor at the main facility. Again, this is a service agreement we have with Gentech, and the recommendation out of this 6-month service check was for replacing the coolant sensor at the water plant. Discussion. Someone like to make a motion?
Making a motion to accept the recommendation of Water Wastewater Department Superintendent Matthew Krug to accept quote by Gentech Ltd. to replace coolant sensor of main facility generator of the water treatment facility at a total cost of $830.44.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Okay. Next item, and Andrew, you are the, and Tony are the insurance committee. You want to talk us through the Brown and Brown proposal for property and casualty workers' compensation?
I spoke with Kieran from company. We had a conversation with him and some of his colleagues. Basically, the policy is expiring. The proposal represents a 10% savings on what we were paying for the prior 2 years. That's primarily because of a shift in the overall New York State rates due to their actuarial reviews of workers' comp rates. There's no payroll audit. It won't be affected by any changes in the way the village is making compensation for its employees. I recommend that we accept the proposal.
Discussion?
The only question I have is if there's no payroll audit now, will there be a payroll audit later?
No.
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 Okay, I'm good.
Someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept workers' compensation insurance policy renewal proposal, to authorize the village clerk treasurer to execute New York State Workers' Compensation Alliance in the amount of $103,784 for a 2-year period, July 1st, 2026 and June 30th, 2028.
This is a roll call vote.
Just, and I didn't number the resolutions, but I believe this is 23. Trustee Bartis.
Was it read out as a resolution?
No, we didn't read it as a
That's not
resolution.
super. I don't have a resolution.
I have this resolution.
I have it up. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead, Laura.
Should be.
Okay.
You know what?
What's the resolution number?
23.
23.
Okay, Resolution 23, 2026, renewal of workers' compensation insurance. The following resolution was offered by Trustee Bosey for adoption and seconded by
Second.
Trustee Woods, to wit, whereas the Village of Cold Springs workers' compensation insurance policy is due for renewal on July 1, 2026, whereas the village has received a proposal from the New York State Municipal Workers' Compensation Alliance for a 2-year renewal, whereas the premium for the 2-year renewal is $103,784 or $51,892 annually and is subject to an adjustment based on reported payroll. Now therefore be it resolved that the Village of Cold Spring renew the workers' compensation policy through the New York State Municipal Workers' Compensation Alliance. Let it be further resolved that the village clerk be hereby authorized and instructed to execute the plan's charter document on behalf of the Village of Cold Spring.
May I ask a question? Andrew, did you not say that it was not subject to?
Yeah,
adjustment by-
there's 2 sections in there. There's the workers' comp, and then there's the NYS estimated assessment. And so whatever the reported payroll change, or if there is one, it does not impact that. And then the NYS estimated assessment is already built in there.
So should we change that to, should we cut the part that says is subject to an adjustment based on reported payroll?
Usually how they work it.
Yeah, I remember from the
Yeah,
conversation I
absolutely.
had with him, though, Tony, that when I asked that question, they said that it would not be levied.
Which they give you an estimate, this is how it works, I don't know about municipalities, but with businesses, they give you an estimate, and so based on last year, this is what we estimate you're gonna pay. Now, if you have more payroll, then they charge you more. If you have less payroll, they charge you less. And that gets figured out for the next period, the next year. But if there's a balance, you owe that balance, or they credit you back.
We have a 2-year period though.
Right.
Do you want to confirm that?
Sure, I can confirm it, but I wrote up a report
Mhm.
and circulated it
Mhm.
after that discussion, and that's what he confirmed to me.
Okay.
But if we want to confirm that,
Should I delete the part that says,
let's be sure.
And it's subject to adjust.
right,
So we can table this. if
Yeah.
you-
Yeah,
to be 100%
Just
certain?
subject to that clarification.
Yes, we could do that.
read a motion to favor it.
Well, actually, what Andrew is pointing out is workable, that we authorize it subject to confirmation of that point.
Okay.
Everybody comfortable with that?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So Laura has made the motion, Sweep seconded, I think. It's a roll call vote.
Trustee Vardis,
All right.
trustee Bozy,
I,
trustee Hall,
Aye.
deputy mayor Woods. Mayor Foley.
Aye.
The resolution is adopted.
And we'll confirm that tomorrow.
Pending confirmation.
Okay, next item brings us back to water department. The DOC is bringing online older water systems. We have been drawing water from our reservoir since 1929, and have never had a water withdrawal permit because we've never been asked to apply for one. So now they're bringing the older municipalities online with that as well. It is not a violation. So going forward, now that we will have an open water withdrawal permit, we will need to make annual reports on estimated gallons drawn or over periods of time. It's per day estimate that it has to submit. So anyway, we worked with Han to make sure that we were coming into compliance appropriately. Marjorie will submit as clerk the letter of application once we get through this permit. This resolution. Questions before we proceed?
Is there a fee for that annually?
No. There's a fee if you don't comply. Big one. Okay, someone like to make a motion regarding the water withdrawal permit?
it's a,
Go ahead,
It's
Laura.
another resolution.
it's a resolution, just to read it.
Yes, I'm sorry, resolution is what I meant. Would you like to do that, Laura?
Sure. Resolution 24?
Yes.
2026, authorizing the submission of application for water withdrawal permit. Following resolution was offered by trustee Bozy for adoption and seconded by
Second.
trustee Woods. Whereas the village of Cold Spring is the owner of 3 reservoirs, Upper Reservoir, Lower Reservoir, Foundry Brook Reservoir, located in the town of Phillipstown for supplying water to the Cold Spring public water supply. And whereas the village has been withdrawing water from the 3 reservoirs since the 1920s, and whereas the village has been notified by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation that there's no record of a water withdrawal permit, probably because the village's water withdrawal predated the NYSDEC. Whereas NYSDEC has directed the village to submit a completed water withdrawal permit application for its existing water withdrawal, and now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Cold Spring hereby authorizes the following. Submitting a water withdrawal permit application to NYSDEC, which will, I think that formally authorize?
Formally, yes.
Formally, right? Formally authorize the village to withdraw water from the Upper Reservoir, Lower Reservoir, and Foundry Brook Reservoir. Authorizing and directing James J. Hahn Engineering PC to submit on behalf of the village a completed water withdrawal permit application to the NYSDEC, authorizing the mayor or another designated village official or employee to sign any and all applicable application forms and documents to effectuate the application and approval process, subject to review by the James J. Hahn Engineering PC and the village's legal counsel if necessary. Now, therefore, be it further resolved, the Village of Cold Spring reserves the right to withdraw the water withdrawal permit application from consideration by the NYSDEC or to amend the application as the village in its sole discretion deems necessary, and this resolution shall take effect immediately. On a roll call vote.
Trustee Bozzi,
Aye.
trustee Bartis,
Aye.
trustee Hall,
Aye.
Mayor Woods,
Aye.
Mayor Foley.
Vote aye.
The resolutions.
You. The next item is a follow on to we're getting started, having took quite some time for the grant paperwork to be approved by New York State, but we have been awarded a grant by New York State for a climate adaptability study specifically related to flooding, and in the Backbrook watershed. So Laura, do you want to talk us through what we have in front of us from Auroron?
Sure. So we already approved the main contract under that grant, which is with Fuss and O'Neill to complete a flood vulnerability and adaptation plan. But we've carved out a small amount for another firm to complete a workshop for residents about how to improve the flood resilience of their property and also how to take flood preparedness, emergency preparedness measures. So this is also fulfilling the MWBE kind of steps for the grant. And we selected Oran Environmental that has really great experience in this area, and they'll build a workshop for us. The one note is that we have $6,300 in the grant for this portion, and the proposal was a little bit higher. It was $6,570. So we would contribute the remaining amount, but we have to do a match for this grant as well, mostly in kind, but also some in funding. So we can put that toward the match. And just to say that the workshop will likely happen in the fall.
Was this put out as an RFP?
So we didn't have to put out an RFP because it's professional services, but we worked with the MWB office at DEC to identify firms with relevant experience, and we've reached out directly to them requesting proposals, and we received 3 proposals, interviewed 2, and selected 1.
Thank you.
I just want to note that you said it's a workshop for residents,
That's right.
community that may have particular concerns around that type of issue.
Say again?
I just wanted to note that it's a workshop for residents, if there are any members of the community that may have particular
And we'll be-
concerns around those kinds of issues.
As we get closer to the actual workshop, we have a kickoff meeting with Auroran tomorrow.
We-
With O'Neill.
Fuss and O'Neill.
Obviously we'll be pushing out advertising, et cetera,
Yeah.
and communicating with folks.
That's right.
Come and participate. Okay, so I need someone's authorization,
Yeah.
your authorization to sign the contract with Auroran Environmental.
So so moved. Can I do that? Sure.
Okay, is someone gonna second?
Second.
Sorry, all in favor?
Aye.
Is this someone you know? Yeah. Okay, now moving to roadways. So we have not had a great track record with the shared position for laborer mechanic with roadways and facilities and water and wastewater. We went through another round of interviews, and this time Bugsy and Matt took the candidate to the wastewater treatment plant and said, get familiar, this is the environment you'll be working in. Are you sure this is for you? And the person would like to take the job. We need to make a conditional offer so that we can do a background and driver's license check. So the person is identified as an employee number in this motion. Any discussion?
Have there been any gaps in the employment of that individual? So the person that's being replaced, has there been a week or two when they haven't been working?
Oh,
Is there has
Is
there
the
been?
position currently vacant?
Yeah.
Yes, because remember the first guy
Yeah,
walked out in the second week.
so there will be savings there for that. Those weeks that have been worked or paid.
Yeah, there'll be some, and it's a minimal amount. It was a short period of time.
Right, okay.
It's, it's finding, it's a special person, who has mechanical skills and is willing to work in the wastewater treatment plant. We've had a rough go of it.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Okay, so I'll make a motion to accept the roadways and facilities department recommendation to extend a conditional offer of employment to candidate RFW 06102026 to fill the vacant interdepartmental laborer / mechanical position at a rate of $27 per hour pending background check with no disqualifying what?
Findings.
Findings. Okay, that's the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, fingers crossed. Next item, the training for our justices is a two-part training. Luke received his training when he was the associate justice for the town of Phillipstown. Our associate justice is now going through the second piece of training, and has requested reimbursement. The training itself is free, provided by New York State, but she has asked for reimbursement for overnight accommodation and mileage. And Justice Hilbert approved the request and expense. Discussion.
She stayed for one night.
Is there a dollar amount?
What'd she say?
Albany.
It's all, I mean, she really wants to be overnight in Albany.
What's the total dollar amount?
$117 for the meal, for the accommodation plus one meal and mileage.
Plus one meal mileage.
Right.
We don't know what,
She
we
didn't
don't know what the
provide
dollar
an
amount is
You
gonna
could
be.
set an amount if you wanted to, up to
I
a
thought
certain
you were-
amount, but
Stayed one night and ate a meal and drove there and back for $117?
No.
No.
It's $117 for the accommodation. She hasn't gone yet.
Oh.
She is going.
Got it.
She is going on Thursday. She's asking for
like gas now.
exactly. She's asking for pre-approval for the accommodation, one meal and mileage. So we don't know the amount of her meal yet. If you would like to say, spend no more than $35 or whatever it is you want to say. I'm comfortable that Faith Thorpe will make
I
good
could do a
choices.
quick calculation of 72, but times.
72 cents per mile. Okay, so I will make a motion to accept Luke Hilbert's recommendation, Justice Luke Hilbert's recommendation to approve Associate Village Justice Faith Thorpe's request for reimbursement of travel expenses in association with an in-person attendance at, quote, taking the bench training in Albany, New York, June 11th and 12th, 2026. One night's hotel fee, $172 per mile. And a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Couldn't pay me to stay in Albany. Okay, next. So is an proposed intermunicipal agreement between Haldane and the Village of Cold Spring. So, crossing guards under New York General Municipal Law are the responsibility of the municipality. They are the employee of the municipality. They report to the police department. There is accommodation in general municipal law to add additional crossing guards. at the request of the school district, and for the school district to cover that cost. The person is still a village employee. They still report to the police department. The district has requested a person to be posted at the end of Locust Ridge and Mountain Avenue, through Craigside, Locust Ridge area where the crosswalk kids cross over into the school entrance. And we have had many contacts from parents concerned about the same intersection. So Haldane has proposed to cover that cost, and this agreement identifies where in general municipal law this is allowable. General municipal law 119-0, and there is one other citation. This may not be. This may not have John's corrections in it.
The Locust and Mountain.
Yeah. This is not the final that was sent around.
119 dash.
Yeah, there are
one.
two citations in the final version. There are two citations of general municipal law. The first is the ability to enter agreements, and the second draws out the ability for the school district to pay.
Do you want to read with the corrections that you in?
Yeah,
And I can make them in the.
Yes. The entire municipal agreement. I'm just taking note that this does not have the time, the shifts and the times are correct, and the pay rate is correct. The difference is that second citation that John added in the final version this time here. This also still has to go, it's before us right now, it also has to go to the school board. So we can either read it with the corrections for you to modify, or I'm sorry, we can adopt it with contingent upon the updated reference, or we can wait until the school board reviews it first. If you would prefer not to vote on this version.
Subject to doing that, can I just ask one question?
Yeah, sure.
Which is, I mean, it may not be that material in terms of cost, but does we provide the equipment and the vests and so forth?
No, the school does. The school covers that cost.
Oh, this is the village shall provide all necessary equipment, signage, reflective gear.
We provide it, but they reimburse us for it.
They're going to reimburse us for it.
Because there are standards. There's a standard crossing guard,
Okay.
stop sign, there's the standard vest. We provide them, they reimburse.
But is that specified in?
That's why I think we don't have the,
Okay. Because the other part.
The other part had costs may include, item D was reimbursement for
Yeah.
equipment.
I have the corrections, but I was not sent the corrected version. I don't have it. It might have
I
been
would feel
sent in.
most comfortable just because there are a couple of places where we don't have the final text in front of us or in the public record. I would feel most comfortable tabling this because the correct version was sent to the school. Tabling it, let them, if you are in principle in support, tabling it and bringing back the final version in our next meeting.
Sure. Yeah. Also in that final version, just want to make sure that we have to advertise for the job, right? There are job advertising fees
Yep.
too, but that would be part of the
Okay.
cost. Thank you.
Good point. Okay, so I'll make a motion to table this. Marjorie and I will one of us will circulate the corrected version and we'll bring it back for a vote. We have a motion on the table. Tabling. I'm gonna have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
But I'm grateful that Haldane stepped up to help with that.
Mhm.
That's about. Okay. Next is discussion of EV charger in the Cold Spring Municipal Lot at New Street. We last time we were together, we passed a resolution, citing the EV charger at the New Street lot and authorizing me to execute the contract. We have had some questions from the public, about regarding flooding, and do we have James with us? Oh, yes, we do. James Everly is here. Regarding flooding, fire risk, and a couple of other issues. And so we thought it prudent for the benefit of those who have questions to bring James back, and have him re-present. Can we give James the ability to turn his camera on?
Share screen.
Who's driving? Are you driving or Laura driving?
I don't know if, I think, can we make him a co-host?
Yeah. I just did,
Right.
but I'm not sure if he's still with.
Hi, James, is that working?
He's muted.
I know,
Oh, there he goes.
great.
Hi, James.
Hi, good evening.
James.
There we go. Now we can see you. Go ahead, Laura.
Well, I'll just say, so thanks for coming back, James. I know that you made a presentation about your company and about this proposal last time. And I asked you to come back and respond to some of the questions that we've received, especially around safety approvals and kind of processes for EV chargers, but it also relates to kind of EV technology and how they relate to each other, and specifically around fires and flooding. It'd be great if you could just kind of walk through some of those pieces for us. Thanks.
Sure. Well, I'll start by sharing literally, I think, just one slide, so people can visually see what we're talking about. Can you all see this slide?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. So
There was a circulated image of a massive street light with multiple heads and a volt post on top. That is not what is going to be installed at New Street. So we asked
No.
James to show what is being installed, and go carry on, James.
Yep. No, it will be the pole that is the second from the left. It's a wooden pole with two chargers side by side. So the charger itself mounts 10 foot on the pole, so well outside of any flood zone. If the flood water is 10 foot or higher, then there's significant issues in Cold Spring because, that's a significant flood.
The question particularly about flooding, James, was electrification of water. And my understanding from having now been part of any number of floods since we took office is there are many things that electrify water when water is that deep and flooding homes, etc. So there are many things that electrify water if we're at a flood of that scale.
Yes, but our charger is very unlikely to be one of them, even in a flood that got up to 10 feet. The power is coming overhead from a nearby utility pole. And one of the key things to mention is that the vehicle and the charger talk to each other constantly. So either the charger won't be in use in the event of a flood. If the charger was in use, the vehicle and or the charger would communicate and stop charging. There's also breakers that are on the pole. There's all sorts of inbuilt safety features that would detect any issues and just stop charging. This charger is also not too dissimilar from electrical outlets that you'd find in your home. It's slightly more powerful, but not by a huge amount by any means. So yeah, there's safety built into the vehicles, there's safety built into the chargers, and in order to charge, the vehicle and the charger have to communicate constantly to one another.
James, you also, I think you mentioned this, you also mentioned the certification that the charger has gone through, which is a
Yep. So it's UL certified, which for anyone involved in any electrical product development will know that that is not that is not an easy feat. It is a very rigorous process, a very expensive process with testing. The unit is also Energy Star certified. But yeah, the UL testing for EV charging is very rigorous.
The UL certification is what we all look at in our electronic products in our house, right? You buy an extension cord, you look for the UL. It's like
Yeah.
it's the seal of
But
approval.
I believe it's the same, I believe, in the US as it is from where I'm originally from, the UK.
Right.
Products that are publicly facing have like a higher standard that they're held to.
James, I'm also from the UK. Hi. Can you just repeat that UL specification number because we lost it as you were saying it. You mentioned the specific number, I think, the UL something something something.
I didn't,
Oh,
but
okay.
it is on our data sheet
Okay.
that I can either pull up once I finish speaking, or I can send it to Laura
I think it's on our site
afterwards.
agreement. There may be a spec sheet on the last page. I can.
Yes, it would be that. It would be that specification sheet. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I thought you'd said it, but as the mayor said, it skipped, and so I thought we'd missed it.
No, no. I unfortunately I don't. I know many things, but I don't know that off by hand. That number.
Right, and there were also concerns raised about the prospect of combustion of either the
Yes.
charger or the vehicle, spontaneous
Y-
combustion.
Yep. So I have never heard of a charger catching fire. That applies to the DC fast chargers, which are like 150 kilowatts, 300 kilowatts. You know, you're talking seriously fast charging. Our charger is 9.6 kilowatts. And again, I've never heard of a charger itself catching fire. In terms of the vehicles, I did look at this ahead of the meeting. Let me stop sharing so I can open another window. So gas cars average 1,500 fires per 100,000 vehicles sold. You need to obviously remember that gas vehicles are basically driving around with a big tank of gas, which is flammable, obviously. It says EVs experience 25 fires per 100,000 vehicles sold. So it's significantly less than a gas car. And I would say again that in the same way that a gas car is unlikely to catch fire when you're filling it up, it's very unlikely that an EV would catch on fire while you're filling it with electricity. Again, because of the safety features involved with the charger and the car talking to one another constantly, the only time that you're likely to see a battery fault would be as the result of an accident. The same as a gas car. You know, the fuel tank ruptures because it was hit by a vehicle. The same is possibly true for electric vehicles. But again, in terms of managing the charging process, this is an incredibly well-established process. the first electric vehicles, um, you, the first commercial ones were probably in the region of 12 to 15 years ago. And since then, the technology's only gotten more mature, only gotten better. So the way that a car accepts power is very regulated. You can't just like turn on the electricity, and if you don't keep an eye on it, it will overflow and cause a fire. The car is monitoring exactly what it's getting all the time. And when it nears the end, it slows everything down and then it turns it off. So you could stay plugged into the charger for a week and the car just wouldn't take any more power. It would just cut off. So again, it's a very managed process.
Can I say something back to you to make sure I understand?
Sure.
When you were talking specifically about the potential for a charger fire, you were saying
Mhm.
that that would be more likely on a faster charger than we are installing here. This is a
So
a
I
lower speed,
so
but
I was saying, yeah, I think I was probably implying that.
okay.
I was saying I've never heard of a fire involving a fast charger or a slow charger. And if you think about the fast chargers, they are um, 10 or 20 times more powerful than what we're installing. And even on the more powerful chargers, I've never heard of a fire related to a vehicle charging. And what we are installing is significantly lower speed, lower power than a fast charger. And again, I've never heard of a vehicle fire related to a level 2 charger. And I should point out, I have been working in the electric vehicle charging space for approaching 11 years now. And I've never heard of a fire in all of that time from any EV charger.
So those were the three big categories of questions that we've received over the last week. We do have a couple of residents from that neighborhood, one online, one in the audience. And there are a couple of other members of the public. Would you be willing to take questions if they have any?
Sure, I'll do my best.
I'll start with the folks in the room. And we'll start with neighborhood residents first. Paul, do you have any comment or question?
I only have a comment, and that is that I'm just very satisfied as to the safety of this charging supply equipment. I've read what the responsibility of the village. I can see from the US Department of Transportation, I think, that you are required to ask questions like this of the provider of the equipment. You've asked the question, I'm happy with the answer. So, yeah. And the thing, James, as you can hear, it's another Brit living just across the road from the charging supply equipment.
And you're cool with it?
Well,
Can I just ask a question related to that,
yeah.
Mr. Thompson, Paul? There was one question raised about visual impact, I think. And as I understand it, one, it's going to be in an area that's shielded with trees, right?
It's to the south end of the lot. Laura, do you have the site plan?
But
It's tucked back
yeah,
in the lot.
yeah.
It is behind trees and along the rock wall.
Right.
It's not along the rock wall.
Okay, maybe let's let you show the site plan.
But my question was going to be, James, given that graphic that you showed us to begin with the unit mounted on it, on that wooden pole, if you were on the other side of that pole in a house, say, looking from the opposite side, it looks to me like you wouldn't be able to see that unit. You'd see the pole, but not the unit. And also from the side, from a local resident, it seems that would it be fair to say that the visual impact would be minimal?
I mean, it's designed to have a minimal visual impact. It's on a wooden pole. I don't want to call them this, but wooden trees. I mean, obviously trees are made of wood, but so it's sort of in keeping with that. The charger itself is pretty um, unobtrusive when it's not in use. The cable is fully retracted whenever it's not in use. And I am not 100% familiar with the final plans that were drawn up. But yes, in the car park environment, I seem to recall it was very close to some of the trees. So I would imagine that the visual impact is pretty low.
And Laura's bringing up the site plan so that the public can see. Are you able to zoom in at all?
Basically, it's gonna be a gray thing on top of a pole. It's gonna look just like all the other poles up and down Main
Gonna
Street.
look like a telephone pole.
You can
so-
paint the camouflage.
And it
And
will
also
be
just for, sorry?
it will be smaller than a telephone pole as well.
It's lower, right?
And just for context.
Yeah.
Just out of view, as you move toward the river, is the boat club. And the docks get stacked there all winter long. They're a more of a visual obstruction than this pole is going to be. And we've been living with those since 1955. So context is important. Mr. Pavlik, do you have any comments or questions?
And just to say, for anyone online, if you press the react button and then press raise hand, if you'd like to speak, then we can. Oh, there you go. You're unmuted.
Yes, thank you and good evening. And I appreciate all the effort to expand the EV charging capabilities. And I was glad to hear Paul speaking there in person. So I don't know if he's still in the room, but
Yes.
so if I understand from the site plan, Laura, thank you so much for showing that. That's a new pole that would be erected. So this would not be using existing infrastructure. A lot of the stuff I read about the volt post was they use existing infrastructure, but I assume in this case it would be new infrastructure. So assuming that doesn't have any impact on that situation, since it's pretty much at water level there, even if there's no flooding, it's you're not much above the river there. So that's my first question. So that new construction of that pole wouldn't really have any impact in that regard, do you think?
No, it's been designed by a leading New York engineering firm called Ahead Engineering. They install these wooden poles for the cell carriers. That's 99% of their business is working with cell carriers and installing these wooden poles when, for whatever reason, the utility pole is not in the right location or has too many things connected to it. And they helped us develop this method so yeah, we can install on existing streetlights, we can install on utility poles, but this new wooden pole approach is proving very popular because you can put the wooden pole exactly in the location you need it, bring the power overhead, and it's a very quick, straightforward process.
Thank you. And so the flooding thing, I know earlier the discussion was that the flooding was, reach the height of the charger, but I think really the concern that I would see more relevant is if the flooding starts to happen, and let's say a person is trying to get their car and his charger is plugged in and the flooding is 6 inches high, or if it gets maybe up to the height of the car or even to the charging port, that would only be talking, a couple of feet of flooding, which can happen there and has certainly happened there in the past on several occasions. So you're saying your system would automatically shut down before that could happen, so there'd be no risk of somebody getting electrocuted by this system?
Yes, no, electrocution has always been the main fear when people talk about batteries. So the engineering that has gone into the safety aspect from an electrocution perspective is incredibly high. All of the sockets are rated to X NEMA, whatever. And then again, because the vehicle is always talking to the car, again, yeah, if there was a flood, I'd be confident that either the vehicle and or the charger would turn themselves off.
And then the last thing I wanted to ask, it's not, oh,
John.
excuse me,
Oh, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
but it's really not something for Mr. Everly, I don't think, but there's only one road in and out of the lower village. And so if there's any issue, or if, depending on, if this brings in extra traffic, I don't know how that is addressed in this situation. If there's some way to mitigate how much traffic could come in there for charging, especially when circumstances, that street is often shut down for various purposes, not all of them bad. It can be a parade and it's shut down. There's lots of reasons why that one road gets closed. So I just wonder kind of what's the vision there? Would people have to have a permit indicating that they live in the Lower Main area to use that station? Or kind of is it just, we're hoping, keeping our fingers crossed that there won't be a lot of usage?
You're muted, Laura.
Thanks. I could say a couple pieces, and maybe James, you can explain this more. And John, I appreciate the concern because I know you all get a lot of cars. So the this the way that EV drivers generally find where to charge is that they look on a map and it shows whether it's used or not. And so they'll only go to the site if it shows that it's not being used, and so they won't circle. They'll make sure that it's available. And so maybe just confirming with James that you'll be posting this charger onto those maps that EV drivers use. And then the other is that because it's a fairly slow charger, the cars will be there for a long time, so there won't be a lot of turnover. It will generally be overnight or for many hours that a vehicle is there. And so I think it's also two spots out of the many parking spaces that are available. So I hope that addresses it. I don't think that we have a way of redirecting people if the road is closed, but I
Sure we do. If the road is closed, the road is blocked.
sure, but I mean, there isn't a way on the app to say it's not available for 6 hours while the road is closed. But I think that then all traffic will be
Right.
going through a diversion.
I think it's also helpful to point out that we do have residents throughout the village who have EV cars and have been asking for additional chargers. There are 2 at Town Hall. There are 4 available in the Butterfield parking lot. And there is still demand. And this is one option. Our code does address charging at home, either with a charger attached to your house, or if you don't have a driveway and there is a cord, our code requires safety cover over the a non-trip covering for the cord that is also ADA compliant, so someone can roll over it in a wheelchair or a stroller. But there is demand in the village for chargers by our residents, and we have residents asking for them. We had 9 letters of support at the last location we looked at, requesting additional charging capacity. Obviously, this is not scientific, and I'm not, I can't see into the future, but if I were a driver passing through the village, if I were passing through the village on 9D, I would see the 2 at Town Hall and the 4 at Butterfield and be more likely to go to those first than to go all the way down into the tangled traffic of Lower Main Street on a busy day. That feels to me like common sense. So I think we want to make sure that we're not we're making choices that not only benefit potential visitors, but that we're making choices that benefit our residents. And this is an opportunity to do that and to meet that request by folks with their own EV cars.
It is also a parking lot.
It's a parking lot. Yeah. Doesn't what have a 4-hour limit? That lot? No.
No.
can just go in there for as
That
long as you
lot is
want.
rented, that lot is rented to the Hudson House for their exclusive use, and they are willing to host this charger in their lot.
Sure.
Anything else, John or Paul or anyone else in the public? Okay, James, I'm sorry, we've got lots of Johns and lots of James. Oh, John's got his hand up again. John Pavlik has his hand up again.
Oh, I just wanted to say thank you so much. This is reassuring. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. Nice to hear your voice. Okay, moving on.
Thanks so much, James.
Oh, James,
And
I'm
thanks for
sorry,
sticking
James.
around so late. We really
Not
appreciate
moving
it.
on yet.
Yeah,
James,
you're
thank you
welcome.
very
You're
much.
welcome to go. Enjoy your
We
evening.
appreciate it, and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Okay, the next two items, paper decisions that we have made in principle at a previous session, May 6th. The boat club came and asked for two items, in accordance with their lease. They came and asked, for the opportunity to have a food truck, and to upgrade their gate. So what do we have first? The first we have is the food truck. So, would someone like to read the resolution into the record?
Resolution 24. 25.
Well, unless we renumber 23, which was the proposed resolution that we tabled.
A number to
So-
be determined by the clerk.
Resolution number to be determined by the clerk, authorizing the boat club to host a food truck on the Cold Spring Boat Club waterfront property for the 2026 season. The following resolution was offered by Trustee Hall for adoption and seconded by,
Mayor Foley.
whereas the village of Cold Spring owns a certain parcel land on the waterfront identified as Putnam County Tax Map number 48.12-1-51, the property, and leases a portion of the property to the Cold Spring Boat Club, Inc., as per the ground lease agreement dated 8th of November 2021. And whereas the boat club proposes to host a food truck on the property for the 2026 season as additional amenity offered to both residents and visitors utilizing the boat club and boat ramp, and whereas pursuant to the ground lease, the village must consent in writing to any proposed improvements by the boat club on the property, as well as any renting out of the property to third parties, and as whereas at its May the 6th, 2026 monthly meeting, the village board reviewed the boat club's proposal, dated May 4th, 2026, an associated site plan, and discussed the same at the village board meetings, and whereas the boat club had hosted a food truck for the 2025 season in a very limited capacity, and the boat club is seeking to expand, and whereas the proposed food truck would be located within the property set back from the street, now therefore be it resolved that the village board of trustees hereby authorizes the boat club to host a food truck on the portion of the property leased by the Cold Spring Boat Club, as shown on the attached site plan, subject to the following conditions. 1, only one food truck at a time may be located on this property. 2, the food truck may operate Thursday through Monday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. from Memorial Day weekend 2026 until November 1st, 2026. 3, no generators are to be utilized in connection with operating the food truck. 4, the boat club is responsible for providing additional garbage bins and emptying those garbage bins into its own dumpster. 5, the boat club must supply the village a copy of each vendor's certificate of insurance before operating on the property. The boat club expects to have different vendors throughout the season. 6, the boat club must supply the village a copy of each vendor's proof of compliance with all Putnam County Department of Health rule and regulations before operating on the property. 7, this authorization is only valid for the 2026 season until November 1st, 2026, and the boat club will have to seek another authorization if it wishes to host a food truck for the 2027 season and or at any time outside this resolution's approval period.
Trustee Bozzi,
Aye.
trustee Vardis,
Aye.
trustee Hall. Aye. Deputy Mayor Woods.
Aye.
Mayor Foley.
I vote aye.
The resolution is adopted.
We'll blow through the next one here, related to the gate. Resolution number to be determined by the clerk, 2026, authorizing the installation of replacement gate at the entrance to. Following resolution was offered by Mayor Foley for adoption and seconded by Deputy Mayor Woods. Whereas the Village of Cold Spring owns a certain parcel of land on the waterfront identified as Putnam County Tax Number 48.12-1-51 property, and leases a portion of the property to Cold Spring Boat Club, Inc. as per the ground lease agreement dated November 8th, 2021. Whereas the existing pedestrian/public gate, the boat club, needs to be repaired. And additionally, the boat club desires to place the gate to provide better security for the boat club and the property. And whereas pursuant to the ground lease, the village must consent in writing to any proposed improvements by the boat club on the property. And whereas at its May 6, 2026 monthly meeting, the village has reviewed the proposed elevations for the replacement gate attached here to as Exhibit A, and discussed how the replacement gate will be metal but sheathed in wood and painted to match the existing perimeter fence. And whereas pursuant to the ground lease, the boat club is responsible for all the costs associated with any improvements, and any improvements become the property of the village. Now therefore be it resolved that the Village Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the boat club to install the above mentioned replacement gate at the boat club's sole cost and expense, as shown on the attached elevations and described by the boat club. It's a roll call vote.
Trustee Bosing,
Aye.
trustee Bartis,
Aye.
trustee Hall,
Aye.
deputy mayor Woods,
Okay.
and Foley.
Vote aye.
The resolution is adopted.
Thank you. Okay, next item is a clerk/Laura item related to the upcoming application for a CFA grant related to dam repair.
Yeah, I can talk through this quickly. So we are, as the mayor said, we are closing on land surrounding our reservoir later this month. This grant, we are seeking to apply to the Water Quality Improvement Program. It's a state program for land acquisition for surface water protection, or I don't know, for water protection. So it's a very, we've come to find out, it is a very technical and specific grant program that's really focused on water, drinking water protection. We were awarded the WQIP and we wrote the grant with working with our engineers at Tectonic, but this one is even more technical and challenging to do. So we have decided it's prudent to spend a small amount of money to hire a strong grant writer to improve our chances for, we will be applying for something like $1 million or in that range. So we evaluated a number of proposals and landed on Labella for having both kind of strong grant writing, but also content expertise on how to frame an issue about drinking water quality protection.
And the CFA grant deadline is?
It's July 31st.
So we're on
So
a very.
that's also a piece of it, is that it's really challenging to meet that given everything that's happening in the village. And so having additional support from professional grant writers will assure that we meet the deadline.
And this is not a structure that we choose. New York State releases the CFA in June, and it's a few weeks till the deadline. So, and you don't know what exactly is going to be available in the CFA fund until it is announced. So you sort of go back and look at what grants have been available in the past and take a guess at what you might be able to apply for. And then when the CFA comes out, it's got to go.
Yeah.
So I feel that we have, Laura and I have given our value in grant writers over the last few years. that both of us are pretty pressed right now, and we want to make sure that we land this grant. So I heartily endorse Laura's proposal to bring someone in to help us make this deadline. You want to talk us through the process of Labella, or why you recommend Labella?
It's essentially that piece that they're, we thought that they have both strong credentials on grant writing, but also on the team. And in the interview, we met with an engineer who has a lot of experience with DEC water quality programs. And, it's really important that we frame this application as we are protecting the reservoir and not we need access to the dam. They don't want to fund access to the dam. They want to fund protecting the reservoir. And thankfully, we have clean water. So that almost puts us at a disadvantage. So we have to really frame that this is, one of the kind of the last pieces of the of protecting the reservoir, that it's in a lot of our planning documents. There's a lot of pieces, but we need the eye of these experts to help us to make that case
You gotta
really strongly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
John have his hand up.
John first? No, I think that's just your
No.
welfare. Okay. So,
Glasses are very
Can I just ask a couple of points?
yeah,
Will the lead grant writer be on from start to finish, and when do we hear back about the outcome of the application?
but from when we hear back from New York State?
Yeah.
I think it's.
Do you remember when it was, Kathleen, for ours? Maybe in the winter,
It was supposed to
February?
be September. We ended up hearing in November.
Okay.
And then the contracting process is long. It's so, I think we're really interested in having someone from this grant writing team that can also help us understand the some of those processes associated with the grant. And we felt like Labella had a better handle on understanding those kind of grant requirements.
But that lead grant writer will be on from beginning to end. I know it's the summer holidays and
Oh,
vacation.
they know when they apply that this is. I think these CFAs are like the bread and butter of a lot of these consultancies, and they know that it's always a July 31 deadline. So yes,
Mhm. Thank you.
they also, but their firm received one of these grants successfully, and so also kind of one of their advisors reviewing their work will be the person who wrote that grant.
Great.
I think it's really important for the public to understand what, people say, just get a grant, to understand the work that goes into both getting a grant and administering grants. And we're administering a number that we have successfully secured to date. And this one is super important to nail.
Yeah.
So I would make a motion to approve the proposal by Labella Associates of Glens Falls, New York, for professional grant writing services related to the New York DEC Water Quality Improvement Project, WQIP Round 22, land. This says acquisition.
Land acquisition.
For source water protection, for source water. Okay, so we paused in the middle of reading a motion into the record, so I'm going to start fresh so we have a clean recording. To approve proposal by Labella Associates of Glens Falls, New York, for professional grant writing services related to the New York DEC Water Quality Improvement Project, Round 22, land acquisition for source water protection component for a lump sum fee of $5,000. You have a second? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Next piece, Laura?
Sure. So there are also many technical attachments that are required for the land acquisition grant application and for moving our dam work forward. Tectonic is our engineer for the dam project, and they've prepared a proposal for the components that are required for that grant application. So you should see that there. It's the monitoring and enforcement protocol, the budget, which includes the cost estimates for the demolition of the house and restoration, buffer restoration, project mapping, and other support. So what we already have a contract with or an agreement with Tectonic, but we wanted to make really clear these specific items that are in addition to the kind of regular services that they're providing.
But are within our budget line,
Yes.
for engineering this year. And particularly related to dam. Michelle padded that out a bit to be sure we had enough for the big year ahead related to the dam. Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the task request proposal by Tectonic Engineering Consultants, Geologists, and Land to provide contact conditions. Total cost of $7,000.
Seconded, all in favor? Aye, any opposed? Okay, we are down to our last item since we moved the officer in charge up. And that is the appointment of members to CPAP, to the interim chair, Kara Ayataka, has recommended the appointment of Michael Mueller and Max Goldberg. I would like to make a motion to appoint Michael Mueller to the term ending 11/31/2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And a motion to appoint Max Goldberg to a term ending 11/31/2027.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Two more people, but now they have quorum, so they can begin the meetings again.
Have bills.
Was that number
Oh,
14 there?
just one
Is
more.
that something?
I'm sorry, what?
14? Is that in
14
there?
what?
Item number 14. Or...
No, we did that already.
Oh, we did.
The Matt, yeah, we moved Matt up.
Okay.
Okay, and then last is payment of bills.
I'll make a motion to approve prior year batch FY 2026, number 8513 in the amount of $150,822.48.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I'll make a motion to approve the current year batch, fiscal year 26-27, batch number 8512 for $8,548.16.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And just to clarify, we are at the junction of two budget years, so we have a batch that is being paid to close out last year's budget, and we are starting on bills for the new budget. So for a little while, we will see two sets of bills to pay. And with that, I will make a motion to adjourn. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, Laura. Thank you for
Good
joining
night.
us on the beach.
Yeah. Take care.
Bye.
It's 9:30.
For number 5 or just meeting.
Now we get a lot done though. Thank you, Paul.